and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today, on this day, I have with me a gentleman by the name of Jakim Morgan. He is the owner of Manna Cigars, a cigar company dedicated to bringing you the finest hand-rolled cigars, and I am looking forward to learning from him today. But first and foremost, as I always do, Mr. Morgan, I take a quick moment to pause. Say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we can't get it back. So I appreciate you making time for me today.
And with that, well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm it's an honor to be here with you, and I'm a little nervous, so bear with me, but I'm glad to be here.
Just a little on me, just a little on me. We're gonna stay in your lane. You're gonna teach me, and you know, this is your. I'm in your world today. I'm in your world today.
Okay, fair enough.
So, sir, one of the reasons I truly enjoy doing these interviews and sitting down with you guys is I get an opportunity to learn things that I'm clueless about, and today is one of those days. Cigars are just, you know, I'm clueless about. So we're going to do the Cigar 101 today. But as we get started, I want to ask you kind of like, what is that movie back in the day? When did you fall in love with hip hop? So my question is, when did you fall in love with cigars, and what started you on this journey? How did it all come about?
Wow. Well, so I want to tell you, I probably have always been intrigued by cigars since I was a small child. Right. So I grew up in a home that, you know, they used to watch the old black and white movies with the Humphrey Bogarts and Jim Cagney's and all those folks. Right. And they would have those movies where you'd see these well-dressed gentlemen, you know, dressed to the nines, and they would, you know, be smoking a cigar or something like that. And I was always intrigued by that. And so as I got older, out of the military, I began to you know, show even more of an interest inside to try one. I was on vacation. I was on vacation with my wife, and I picked up a cigar, and I tried it. I was like, "Wow, this is great!" You know, I was on the beach, so it was a perfect type of situation, because one of the things I always say about cigars, you do it when you have time to enjoy them, and it's quite a relaxing experience. So I was out there on the beach. I believe it was St. Croix, and I had this cigar, and I came back, you know, back home from vacation to the States, and I was trying to find this exact same cigar, right? But I really didn't know too much about cigar brands and stuff like that. So I wound up coming home, and my wife worked in the city, not too far from one of the biggest and most known cigar shops in New York at the time, which was Nat Sherman. And this cigar shop has been around since like 1930s, and it's no longer there. But I sent her on this mission, a fool's mission, to go to this cigar shop, and I told her to pick up, I think the brand was called El Producto. So El Producto, which I found out later, is a machine-made cigar, not all that great. But I sent her in this very well-established cigar shop, asking for a brand that you can get at your local corner store or at a pharmacy. And they looked at her and said, "Man, you'll have to go to, you know, down the street to the newsstand for that." So she stood there, face beet red, and said, "Well, okay, sir, can you let me know what I should pick up for my husband? You know, he's trying to get into this." And they steered her in the right direction. And so upon the embarrassment of my wife, she helped me to get into this thing and really get my feet in the right direction. So there were no more El Productos after that. But
the things we do for our spouses.
That's it, right? So so that was about well over, I want to say about maybe 26 years ago.
Oh, so you got some time in the game.
Yeah,
time in the game. 26 years ago. Okay. Now, as we get started with what you got today, what brand is that?
Okay, well, today I have one of my own.
Okay, well, it makes sense.
So from Manna Cigars, which is my company, and this is called the Casina. And I'll go into the different brands, the different blends that I have, but this is the wrapper is Nicaraguan, the fill is Nicaraguan, and the binder is Nicaraguan. So this is a completely Nicaraguan cigar, and it's very good, very smooth. Perfect for a situation like this with good conversation.
Good conversation. Yeah, okay, so let me write that down, because I want to get to that in a bit here. But let me start, because you know I'm seasoned, so I got to keep my mind focused, or I'll forget.
No worries. I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Trust me. Right there with you. I forget where I parked my car. So,
I know, right?
you know.
So let me get started on my learning journey here. And
Yes.
let me say this. Now I really don't like the smell of cigarette smoke, but
Right.
you can put me in a room full of cigar smoke and it's a very
Yeah.
aromatic, pleasing smell,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So for the new person like me, you know, you think tobacco is tobacco. Why is it that cigar smoke smells differently than cigarette smoke?
I want to say it's because a lot more detail goes into producing a cigar, from the soil that the leaves are grown in, all right, to the climate that they're cultivated in, and things like that, where they aged, how they're aged. That all contributes to how the cigar is going to come out. And so you're going to get different uh, floral aromas from different cigar blends.
Okay.
And most of the time, they all smell really, really good. And everybody's different, of course. And, you know, some people can't stand the cigars no matter what. But,
Oh,
you know, yeah, there's some people like, oh, I just can't, you know, just don't like it. You know,
wow.
cool. That's just not, it's not you. But
Okay.
I walk down the street and I'll just be, you know, on going about my errands of the day, and a guy will walk by smoking a cigar, and I always like, oh, that's something good he's got there, you know. So it's very aromatic to me. Like some people, you know, like burn incense, and that's their, you know, I love the smell of a nice cigar, you know.
Yeah, it
So
is nice.
and like I said, different cigars will give you a different aroma, and some of them very complex or whatever. But most of the stuff on the market today is very good smelling. Absolutely.
Okay. Now you mentioned aged,
Mm.
and I don't in my learning, I don't recall cigarettes being aged, but how long does it take, the aging process generally take?
So wow, you can produce a cigar uh, in you know a few months, but the the more premium blends, that process can last as little as 2 years, or it can go to a 5-year process, or even a 10-year process. You have some cigars that the leaves in the cigar that was made is about 10 years old. Of course, those are going to be your more high-end cigars. If you got a cigar where the leaves in there, the wrapper, the binder, and the filler is all like 10-year-old tobacco, you know, that's gonna cost you some money, you know, because so much time has been put into it, you know. But you can produce a decent cigar in you know in under a year, depending on who you talk to. Um,
Okay.
but the more complex and the more delicious you're gonna have. Like I said, I think that 2-year mark is the sweet spot, and then on from there.
Okay,
You know,
2 years,
yeah, yeah,
2 years. So
yeah.
the tobacco is being
Right,
aged for 2 years.
right.
It's
In some cigars, right? Yeah,
okay,
right.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay, so slow mark me more into this journey here. So let's say I come to you and I say, okay, I'm going to be your student and I'm thinking
Okay,
about starting this cigar journey.
right.
Jakim, give me my cigar smoker's starter pack. What are you going to send me down to the cigar shop and some beginner items I need to purchase to start this journey?
Well, the first thing I would say to you is when you go into your brick and mortar cigar shop, and I would say for a beginner to try to go to a brick and mortar cigar shop first. You can find a lot of online shops, like even my own, but I always say go to a brick and mortar cigar shop first and actually talk to the gentleman and let him know, hey, I'm a beginner. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, how would you guide me? And they're always going to guide you they're going to start you at a mild cigar. Okay. Because you don't want to jump on something that's a full bodied, full strength cigar and then don't enjoy the experience and never go back and never try it again. So
Okay.
always start off with something mild. Some of the mild brands out there, you have Macanudo, which is a very old cigar brand. They've been around for a long time. They have a lot of really nice mild cigars.
Okay.
Who else is out there? You have so many. Ashton, very, very mild cigars. There's a lot of them. I even have some mild cigars in my assortment as well, my collection. But it's not hard to find a mild cigar, and then you go from there. I always say also, you also want to make sure you've eaten a decent meal before
Oh,
you try to indulge in a cigar. I made the foolish mistake many years ago of, in my mind, I was still learning. You watch people get up out of bed, they smoke a cigarette, right? First thing, let's time I get out of bed, he made a cigar, and I didn't eat anything, and I got so sick, I was turning green. So always have something on your stomach, although you're not inhaling. Still, it's good to have something on your stomach when you're enjoying your cigar, before you enjoy a cigar. So something to,
Okay.
Breakfast, lunch, whatever. Make sure you have one of those meals, something in your stomach before you have a cigar. So once you go and the gentleman or the lady in the cigar shop leans you towards something mild first.
Okay.
They're gonna tell you, okay, they're gonna pick out a cutter for you, right? There's different types of cutters. You have a single head guillotine cutter, which is one blade. I like to use a dual blade cutter because it cuts the cigar a little bit more evenly, a little cleaner cut. And there's different types of cuts that you put on the cigar. I have a straight cut. I don't know if you guys can see that. I have a straight cut on my cigar tonight. Okay. But there's a V cut, and there's also a punch where you can actually just punch the end of it, and do it that way.
Now, let me ask you a pause real that with the cutter, and I've seen that before. Is there a certain amount, like you're not?
Yes, good question. That's a very good beginner question. You don't want to, cut too much off. This is the very tip, what they call the cap of the cigar. You're just gonna come along and just snip the cap, just below the cap and snip. You don't want to come too far down, just enough to get that cap off, and then you can go ahead and begin the lighter process. So then,
what's the purpose of that? Why?
Well, because that's going to be the end you put your lips on in order to be able to puff the cigar. So, but if you have, let's say, and cigars come in different sizes. If you already have a short cigar, you don't want to cut off half of the short cigar, messing around. Then you're like, what did I just do? And people do stuff like that. They cut off too much or whatever. Like, what happened here? So, yeah. Also, they probably will recommend a cutter or some cigar matches. There's even other things you can light a cigar with, but let's start off with the easy stuff. I like to use a dual flamed wind resistant torch lighter to light my cigar. Yeah. It's different than a regular, let's say. I don't have one in front of me, but I guess I do. I'm lying. So I don't know if you guys see this flame here. This is a single flame torch. I like to use dual usually. And or they'll give you what they call cigar matches, which are longer than your usual book of matches that you would get for a cigarette or whatever the case may be. And then they'll teach you how to light that cigar. And there's a process behind that too. So yeah. It's almost like it's almost like a spiritual ritual to a lot of us cigar enthusiasts.
I'm getting this impression.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Because I'm thinking about cutting off the end or whatever. Now, when I go to the liquor store, some things I see they have. What are they? Cigarellos? They have a filter on the end or whatever. What's the difference between those and?
All right. So a lot of the cigarellos, depending on the manufacturer and the maker, those are machine made. And so once you delve into the quote unquote premium and cigar side of things, you always want to go handmade, hand rolled. So that's be the difference. If you see something with a tip, 9 times out of 10, or many times, maybe not as much as 9 times, but many times, it's probably going to be a machine roll type of deal.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, Mr. Morgan, because, I got things to do. I got to wash my clothes. I got to prepare for these interviews. I got to, and the thing about cigar smokers that I've noticed is it don't seem to be a quick process. Like I never see nobody like, I'm on my break at work. Let me take a quick smoke break and go back in here and finish this report, right?
Exactly.
It seems to take forever. So how long do I have to set aside in my day to enjoy one of these things?
Well, it depends. How much time do you think you would want to spend? For instance, let's talk about briefly cigar sizes. This is a what they call a Toro. This is a Toro, and it's a little bit longer. It's not quite as long. I mean, let's do it this way. You have your basic size, Robusto, right, which is a short smoke. Robusto, it may take you about 40 minutes, 45 minutes to puff. Okay. So if you feel that you don't have that much time, you would do a Robusto during the day. Okay. Then you have maybe like what they call a Corona size, which is a little bit longer and maybe the same width, if you will, which is called a ring gauge in a cigar world. And that may be a 50-minute to an hour smoke, depending. So you mentioned something very smart, very intelligent, coming from somebody who's a novice and is trying to learn. Right. Cigars also go with time, right? So, you know, if you don't have that much time, don't light up a Churchill, which is a 7-inch cigar, and it can go anywhere between what they call a 42-inch ring gauge to a much thicker ring gauge, you know. And usually a traditional Churchill, which is a 7-inch cigar, they even have them as long as 8, believe it or not. That could be easy a 2-hour smoke. So we're talking about an episode of The Godfather.
I got things to do.
Right. We're talking about an episode of The Godfather or episode of a Star Wars movie or something like that, you know. To sit down and enjoy that, you know.
So what happens if you can't finish it?
Well, so traditionally, right, anybody in the cigar world will tell you, it's a faux pas in the cigar world to leave a cigar to the next day. Okay. So many will say, well, you know, because a lot of cigars now will cost you, you know, you can have a great cigar from $5, $4, and then, you know, $10 and up, you know, things like that. So do I want to throw away a $10 cigar if I didn't finish it? You know, last night I want to pick it up. Here's the thing. It's not going to be the same if you relight. It's not going to be the same experience. It's almost like leaving out soda overnight, you know,
it gets
cap,
flat.
or it's the same type of concept.
Gotcha.
So it won't be as good an experience as when you first lit it. So again, make sure you have the time to enjoy, let's say, a Churchill cigar. You know, if you don't have 2 hours to just chill out, you know, then don't light up that. So again, the different sizes, we'll talk about the time you have. And I just mentioned the basic sizes. There's cigars that are real short that you can get, and you can puff that in about a half hour. So I was just talking about the traditional sizes. Right now, they're putting out cigars that are super short, you know, and you can puff one of those in a small amount of time, you know.
So is this an everyday enjoyment for you?
So, you know, no. There are people that do smoke every day. They'll puff it or enjoy a cigar every day and maybe have 3 a day, you know. Yeah, depending. I know some guys who are, you know, and gals who are diehard cigar enthusiasts, and they may have 3 a day. I tend to try to stay around, let's say I'll have maybe 3 a week out of the week, you know, just because I don't have the time, as you said, to sometimes enjoy, and I hate to throw away an expensive cigar or whatever, or you know, but yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, let me go on to my next question. Now, as we were going back and forth to schedule for today's interview, you suggested in my preparation for today's interview that I go and look at a few of your videos on your YouTube channel. One of them was a series of women who smoke, right?
Yes.
And I want to be honest, I was a tad bit disobedient. But I got good reason for it. So I went to your YouTube channel and I was scrolling down to look for the videos that you suggested, and I came across one of your videos, and you were reviewing Carolina Blue cigars.
Yes.
And I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Look at that.
Naturally, I stopped to watch that.
Look at that.
So that's my excuse. But as I watched that video, I picked up a couple of things. Now, in your review, you were saying the cigar flavor tasted from when you started to the middle of it.
Yes.
So that's a common phenomenon?
Yes. So a cigar can change taste and texture from the start to the very end. And that's because, remember, okay, for instance, this cigar, right? The filler is Nicaraguan. So there's only one. I have another one where I have 3 different fillers.
Okay.
So you're going to taste 3 different things as you go through that cigar. So when you light it, you may start off one way and get a certain hint of whatever. And then as you get to the middle, they might change to something else. And at the end, it might change to something else. Wow. So yeah, depending on how the cigar is made, you're going to get different hints of different things, different floral aromas. The aroma might change midway through. Okay. Or towards the end because of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so I can see how it's a pleasurable experience because you're having this explosion going on.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I can see. Okay. I'm getting.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Now the second thing I got from watching that video where you were doing the review of that cigar, you said at the end that you recommended it more for a intermediate or seasoned versus a beginner. So that I was like, well, why wouldn't a beginner appreciate that cigar?
Well, because as a beginner, I feel, and other cigar enthusiasts may feel, that you're still trying to develop that palate, and it might be slightly overwhelming or too strong for a beginner because it's something that is a crawl, walk, run type of hobby. Okay. You know, so that's why I mentioned that. So that my channel on YouTube, I try to gear it, anybody can watch it and get something out of it, but I try to gear it more towards beginners. So that's why I said, you know what, great cigar, but would I give it to somebody who never had a cigar in his life? Probably not, because I don't want to have them wobbly and woozy. Okay. And then they're like, well, I'm not gonna ever do that again. I didn't like that experience at all, because you don't want to do that to somebody. Okay. So that's why I mentioned that. It was a warning. It was a warning. Like, all right, listen. If you're a beginner,
maybe not.
Jump on this at your own risk,
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, okay, that's my home. Let me go ahead and I said, he said, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't try that one. Right. But okay. Great
stick, but that's slang for a cigar. We call them sticks.
Sticks. Okay. Sticks.
Great stick. But if you're a newcomer, might be a little bit too much. That's
got to work your way up to that one.
I love Carolina Blue, and they have a great group of people that work with those cigars. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I had good intentions. I was like, okay, let me. I said, oh, wait a minute. What? Huh? Okay. Now, now, again, I tried to get back on course and go back to do what you're telling me, to do. And us hard-headed knuckle women, we don't do that all the time. So I was scrolling around and I said, oh, he's seasoning a humidor. And I said, oh, that reminds me of seasoning a cast iron skillet. So let me watch that one. Let me watch that one.
Another good video to watch. Another one.
I was just all over the place.
It's okay. It's all right.
Just ADHD, just all over the place. But so my question is, when I was watching that one was, so the person who buys themselves some cigars, or maybe they're gifted some cigars, and they don't have a humidor, what's the proper way to store them if you don't have a humidor?
Oh, wow. That is a good one. So what they have out also on the market, they have these packs. There's several different companies that make them, and it's like a little small package that you can put your cigars in a Ziploc bag, if you will, and put this little bag in there, and that will help to humidify or keep those cigars at the correct humidity while you store them until you can get yourself a proper humidor. And humidors come in all different sizes, and they hold different quantities of cigars. So you might not be the type of person that needs a 20, like minimum they hold, I think that's not correct. You might not want to get one that holds 25 because you're not going to go through 25 cigars, right? So you may get one that holds 10 or 5 or something like that, and they come in different shapes and stuff like that. And so, but if a person gives you some cigars, let's say 5 to 10, and you don't know what to do, you put those bad boys in a Ziploc bag, and you get what they call a Bovita pack or humidification pillows, and you follow the instructions. You just put that bad boy in there you put the cigars in there with that, zip it up, and you're good to go until you have time to get yourself one. And sometimes, depending on the company, you can reuse the pack. So if you need to, yeah.
Do they last? Do they have a long shelf life?
The packs or the cigars?
Cigars.
As long as they're stored in the proper environment, yes, absolutely. I have in my humidor right now cigars that I've had in there for 5 years. You know, yeah, and they're still. If I pop one out right now, and light it up because I've kept it properly, stored it properly. It's a wonderful smoke. And there's times where in the beginning I goofed up and didn't really do what I was supposed to do. Right? You can revive a cigar. You can revive it.
How so?
It takes time, but you can revive it. So in other words, let's say you got cigars that have dried out. You can actually go ahead and put them in the correct storage and let them slowly come back to life. In other words, just let them sit there in that correct environment, and they will begin to come back to life. Yeah. Some people might just throw it away, but you can revive it. And then if you've been smoking for a while, you'll light one up, and you can tell if it's back to being where it's supposed to be. And if you light it up and it's not smoking right, or it just tastes bad, then well, yeah, that one is gone. But you should always try to revive it if you can. Yeah. Okay. A lot of times you can revive it.
Okay. Do you have to do that? So we talked earlier about if I can't get through a cigar, I'm assuming that it doesn't taste the same. Can you revive a cigar that you have smoked?
So if you find that you just, what, I'm gonna relight this daggone cigar. I done paid $13 for this bad boy, and I fell asleep and didn't finish it. What you can do is take that exact same cutter, okay, and snip off where you lit it, just above where you lit it last time. Okay. Okay. Like, so this one is lit, and just snip that off. Okay. And then go ahead and relight. It's still not going to be the same, but it'd be better than trying to relight it over that burnt portion again. Okay. So clip off the part that is ashy, whatever, just a little bit, and then you can go ahead and go back and try to relight. And again, it might not be the exact same experience, but it's better than trying to relight over ash.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so the ash is okay. I'm getting it now. I'm getting it now. Yeah. Now, if I ever go down this road and travel this journey, I want to say, Jakim was my instructor. So let's say, and I want to be a good student. So let's say I'm sitting in the cigar lounge.
Yes.
And, you and your seasoned crew are sitting over there in the corner, and you're kind of, looking around the room. I don't want to make any mistakes. So what is it that newbies do that you seasoned cigar smokers say, that's a new one right there? I don't want to.
Man, there's a couple of things that make us all look at each other like, oh, Lord. One of them is because you've seen it, people have seen it in movies, and I thought it was a thing too. You never go into a cigar shop and start licking the cigar like you lost your mind. No. There's no need to do that. So that's definitely one thing you don't want to do.
Okay.
Another thing is, especially if you're here in the United States, to go into a cigar shop and begin to brag about Cuban cigars.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Cuban cigars are great cigars. However, they, in a lot of circles, they're not as good as they used to be. And there's so many different countries that have stepped up and have just about made, they either better than or just as good as some of your Cuban cigar brand. Okay. So when you go to a cigar shop in America, you talk about, how many Cubans you have, people are looking like, we don't care. They could care less how many Cuban cigars you have. So, that's not a talking point to go to start a conversation. Have you had this particular Cuban?
No brag points there. Okay.
We don't care.
Okay, so I can't lick the cigar, and I can't talk about Cuban cigars. Yeah. And that's about it.
There's probably a couple of others, but nothing to make to be too. And you know what? Here's another thing too. Many in the cigar crowd are super friendly. So if you have a question, you can always ask. Hey, I noticed that. How do I do this, or why do you guys do that? And a lot of people are very friendly in the cigar world. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So kind of building on, you mentioned Cuban cigars, and everybody, if you know about cigars or if you don't know about cigars, you hear about Cuban cigars.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And politically, legally in the United States, it's
Right.
can't do. But I'm curious, is Cuba the only country where it's hard to get their cigars, or?
So, to get Cuba, yeah. America is, I mean, you can, like, I was in Cuba in 2018 in Old Havana. I went,
Okay.
I had a wonderful time. And at that time, you were able to bring back, I believe it was 50 Cuban cigars per person. All right. I traveled in a group. I was the only person who was a cigar guy. And so I had my 50 and they all got their 50. So I came home with about 250 cigars. So I was good to go. But yeah, so Cuba is probably the only place where, in the United States, you're not going to really find them because they're considered contraband, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
But if you go on vacation someplace else that actually has business with Cuba, like Canada, you can get a Cuban cigar in Canada or some other island in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, we've talked about Cuba. You mentioned yours have Nicaragua. It gives the impression that Spanish-speaking countries are better for producing cigar tobacco, or?
Well, I tell you what, you can also Cameroon has cigar leaves that are very good in certain cigars. So, but yeah, it is a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, but I believe so. Cameroon is definitely one, and there's another country, and forgive me because this is my 51-year-old brain working here. I'm probably about to short circuit at any moment, but I want to say there's either Indonesian. There's a leaf that you can get from Indonesia that's very good too, that they use to blend or wrap the cigar. So yeah, but most of your Spanish-speaking countries do have your cigars and stuff like that. Yeah.
So one more time, run down, because I think I heard you say 3 parts. What are the 3 parts of a cigar?
So the 3 parts of the cigar are your wrapper, which is visible.
Okay. And
then underneath, you're going to have your binder and your filler. The binder holds together the other leaves that are underneath the wrapper. So that tightens them up. All right. And then the wrapper, of course, is what you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so go ahead. The process of learning how to roll a cigar, is it time extensive, like becoming a chess master, or?
Yes, I would say it is something that takes time, time and practice. But it's something that anybody can do if they want to learn. But it does take time. I mean, it's interesting to watch some of your, like I've watched some people who have been in the cigar game for like 30, 40 years, and they roll these cigars in a manner of, it seems like in under 2 minutes, they've rolled a perfectly shaped and formed cigar. But when you talk to them, they say they've been doing it since they were children. They've been, some of your cigar rollers, male and female, have been rolling cigars since they were like, 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
So they can almost do it in their sleep, But those are your cigar masters. The guys that have like 30 plus years or 25 plus years, those are your cigar masters, They're almost flawless, Yeah.
I'm just picturing, making a burrito or something like that.
Yeah.
Put all that stuff in there. Okay. So before I get into Manna Cigars and the brands that you offer, let me ask you this real quick.
Yes.
Is there a particular brand that is on your bucket list that you haven't tried yet?
Oh, wow. Particular brand on my bucket list. Holy cow. That is a good one. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that one before. But, I would have to say, not that I can think of. I've had quite a few cigars in these past 26 years. I've had a lot of Cuban cigars. I've had $50 cigars. I've had $2 cigars.
Okay.
And believe it or not, guess what? Some of those $50 cigars were garbage. Really? I was like, my God, never again. Yeah, and some of them are amazing,
Okay.
But yeah, I can't say that there's anything that I haven't that I would say is a bucket list cigar. Arturo Fuente, who is his brand is world renowned. I think he has a new one out that is rare to get that I might want to try, and I can't even think of the name of it off the top of my head because it's very rare.
Okay.
But yeah, but other than that, I can't say off the top of my head there's something that I gotta go have that.
Okay. So for somebody who, becomes addicted to this process and travels down that rabbit hole, how much blood do you have to donate? I mean, what's the most expensive cigar? What's like,
Wow.
what do we have to give up here to get the best of the best?
So honestly speaking, and I also speak about this both on my YouTube channel and on the podcast that I have on Spotify. I say to anybody just getting in, you can get yourself an excellent cigar for as little as $5, depending on who puts it out. And then you can go ahead and spend, whatever, an exuberant amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
You're just getting in, try to keep your budget. And everybody, I don't know everybody's budget,
mm-hmm.
but I would keep it between, in the beginning, the $5 to, let's say, $12 area.
Okay.
You can get a lot of beautiful different kinds of cigars in that area just coming in. Okay. And then as you begin to enjoy it, then you can say, okay, let me try something else that may be a little bit more pricey or whatever and see if I like it. Okay. But there's some kick butt $5 cigars out there. Okay. Really, there is. Some really great ones.
But as we learned from your wife, they are right. not at the corner store, right?
Right. Don't go to the corner store and talking about, and it is what it is. But on this side of the cigar world, we're not talking about what the Dutch Masters and White Owls.
No.
This ain't the same
what is
thing.
It? What is it? Swishers Sweets?
Yeah. No. This is, you get laughed. In fact, that's another thing too. If you get into this thing, don't you dare walk into no renowned cigar shop with a dang on Swisher Sweet in your hand. That's your mind. Yeah. You'll be real uncomfortable because everybody will be looking at you like, and they'll tap each other like this. They'll be like, do you see this guy? This guy? Yeah. No. It's not the same ball game. It's not the same ball.
Not the same. I got you. So let's talk about Manna Cigars and the collection that you have. Let me first ask, Manna Cigars, is that from the food that was given to those people that was stubborn and didn't want to
know? How did you picked up right on that?
Well, I'm a
wow. Okay, so let's talk about that name. Okay, so as I was pondering things, a lot of things came to mind. One of the things that came to me, I thought about my father who's deceased now. I thought about him. I was trying to maybe put his name on it, whatever. But I came up, one of the first books I was reading was the Bible, right? So I came up reading a lot of scriptures. In fact, some of the scriptures was given to us, at the end of the belt, you know what I'm saying? So I came up reading scripture. And so what I said to myself, wait a minute, I like cigars, I like where they put me at. And I said, hey, wait, Manna. And I started to name it Manna from Heaven, but I said, ooh, that might be a little bit sacrilegious.
That's too much.
So I said, I can see my father looking down at me now, boy, no, you didn't.
Boy.
But I said, I take that, and I said, I named it Manna Cigars.
Okay.
Because Manna Cigars is going to give you a great experience.
Great experience. Yeah, I saw that, and I said, okay, this is that when them people was being knuckleheads and one paying attention. Look, I'm trying to give you everything you need. I'm trying to give you everything you need.
Right. Here's this Manna. Take this Manna. But yeah, so it is a play on that. And it's funny that you're the first person that knew immediately what the reference was.
I stay on my word. So
there you go. All right.
It was easy click for me. It was easy click for me. But, so you offer some custom blends at Manna Cigars.
Yes.
So kind of explain what offerings that you have there.
So it's very interesting. So I offer, I'll talk about the first 4 blends.
Okay.
The first 4 blends come from my what I call the Palmanac selection.
Okay.
And Palmanac is the area that I grew up in Flushing, Queens, New York. Actually, it was called the Palmanac Houses. I grew up in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
And that name Palmanac is actually a Native American name.
Okay.
That area in Queens used to be Native American territory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that particular tribe, actually Palmanac means land of tribute. And I picked Palmanac for a couple of reasons. One, Native Americans and tobacco were always synonymous with each other.
Okay.
In fact, in a lot of cigar shops, you'll see a cigar Indian inside a cigar shop, right? And so that was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. This is a marriage made in heaven. So I took the name Palmanac and named my first blend the Palmanac Selection.
Okay.
And so my first 4 blends, the Parsons, the Casino, which I have this evening, and the Jewel and the 7-1, those are all the streets that intersected and crossed and all up and down my neighborhood. So I named, and it's funny because this is what I did too. So Parsons, for instance, is the street I grew up on. I grew up on Parsons Boulevard. And Parsons Boulevard was kind of like the rough side of the neighborhood. So I equated that to being a full body cigar.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's rough. So
okay.
So Casino, which I have, it was rough, not as rough as the Parsons side, but it was smooth over there. So this is a very medium full
all right.
cigar. Okay. Now, Jewel, which is a 2-tone wrapper, right? Very mild cigar. We used to call that side of town the soft side. So that was the mild cigar. And 7-1 is named after 71st Avenue, and that was also a very mild part of town. Nothing happens over there. So those two are mild and mild medium blend. Yeah, so it was all a play on words in the streets. And I said, in my experience growing up there, and I threw that all together into these blends. And this is what so the streets will tell you the strength of the cigar.
Oh, of the cigar.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. And you hand roll these?
So these actually, because of this production, these are made by your pure professionals. I picked all the blends myself.
Okay.
But these are rolled by
professionals,
right? Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody is looking to purchase, do they have to give you a certain time leeway because they are made?
No, I have cigars on premise. I go out of stock sometimes, but everything right now is in stock. So if you go to my website right now and decide to purchase, they will be shipped to you as ASAP. Usually within 24 hours we're shipping. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just woke up one day and said, hey, I think I'm going to sell some cigars.
You know what? It started out as a dream, just a daydream. I enjoyed the experience of cigars so much that I said one day I want to open up my own cigar lounge, and in my mind, I want it to be, my father was a jazz musician, jazz guy. And so I want it to be a grown, sexy, jazz spot. You come and have a nice cigar. You have your libation. You kind of just chill out. And so as I'm thinking about that, I said, what's to stop you from creating your own blends and putting your spin on a cigar out there? What would you like? What do you like? And stuff like that. And so that's how I came with that. And it took time. It wasn't something that just, overnight. I had to talk to people. I did so much research. And I talked to people. I had to go and to fly to places where they, where they grew cigar leaves and stuff like that. So it was a process, but it took a long time, but then it finally came to fruition. Now, as of right now, I'm only selling my cigars online, but my end game is to open up my own brick and mortar that will be that grown and sexy, jazzy cigar lounge. Absolutely.
And I learned well. So when I walk in there, I'm not going to lick the
That's right.
cigars.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Be like, he's my teacher over there. He taught me how.
Don't you dare lick on the.
He taught me how to do this.
They be done ram me out of town. They be done ram me out of town. Don't you dare do that.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So you got the 4 in tribute to the housing area that you grew up in. And I think you mentioned the one you were talking now was Nicaragua. They're all from that area?
No, they're different. I have Nicaraguan, Dominican, Honduran.
Okay.
I have cigars that also have what they call Cuban seed, which means that the seeds itself are from Cuba, but they were grown, let's say, in Nicaragua or Honduras or the Dominican Republic, but the seeds itself are Cuban. So I have, there's a mishmash of stuff from many different countries in South America, the Caribbean, and things like that. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, I'm just, I think I read, I don't think we discussed it today, but your background, you were in the military or are in the
Yes. I was regular Army, active duty, and now I'm reserve. So I've been serving for over 20 years, on and off. Yeah. Because when I read that and I was thinking about cigar, and the first thing is expensive, and I'm a military brat. My dad was in the service, and I was like, okay, I remember my childhood days, and I don't know how this man being in the military acquired this habit, because money was funny all the time. All the time, right. Well, so I am a part-time soldier now. Once a month, I do my drills. I'm a reservist. But then I also work for the Department of Defense on civilian.
That's, I just came to my, I said, okay, I come from a military family. I don't know how he was doing this in the military, but that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, sir, I have taken up more of your time today than I planned to, and I apologize for that.
Good conversation. We're flowing.
That's right. I guess I could have smoked a cigar in this point in time. You know what? 40 minutes, right? I do have time, I guess. I was saying I don't have time, but I guess I'm going to do my random question, and then I'm going to ask for you, Trouble, to tell us how we connect with you and keep up with you. You have a podcast that people beginners like me can get some useful information. You have a YouTube channel where people, because like I said, I learned from there. I didn't go where I was supposed to go, but
it's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to hold it.
So let me ask my random question, and then I will.
Okay. Oh, you're taking it out of it. I like that. You got the little. Okay. All right.
Let's see what we got.
I'm going to use that same energy for this Powerball, because it's almost 800 million.
Oh yes, we can buy us. We can go ahead and get that brick and mortar shop.
I have several shops. Coast
Thank
to coast,
you. We can have franchises. Well, here we go. I guess I might know the answer. Just if you won $1 million, what would you buy first?
Cigar shop. Absolutely, cigar shop. That's right. Whoop, whoop. A state of the art one too. State of the art. You know? That's
right. And I tell you, I'm gonna come in there just to mess with you.
It's all right. You're welcome. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
All righty, sir. Yes. Mr. Morgan, please tell us how we buy some cigars.
Okay.
How we connect with the podcast. Just give us the whole lowdown.
Well, I'm going to mention the website first. You can catch my Manna Cigars at www.mannacigars.llc.com. And when you go to the website, there's a lot of information on there. Please take your time and go through everything, because there's a lot of informative things about myself, the cigars, Pamanac, and things like that. And on the website too are the links to my YouTube channel, which is Jakim Cigar Journal on YouTube, and my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. And also, I have I do a podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts as well. So you can also catch my stuff there as well.
Awesome. I love it. Well, first and foremost, because my dad would be very irritated with me, so let me say thank you for your service first.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so very much.
And next, I just want to say how proud I am of you for just having the vision and the motivation of going into a business, especially a unique one such as this. It's
It is a unique
it's a daunting task.
It is.
I'm assuming
It is.
because
Oh my goodness, it is.
this is stepping outside the United States and kind of coordinating with everything. So I mean, just kudos to you. And
Thank you.
I'm assuming that you guys have festivals and stuff. We're going to see you at places all over the place.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, you know, I might not be partaking, but I might come in there for a sniff or two or something.
There you go. It's all right.
You know,
it's all right. You're more than welcome. You know,
but yes,
if you find yourself on the East Coast, let me know. You know,
I will. I'm that way often. So yeah, we'll have to hook up, and like I said, I'll have to embarrass you or two. I mean,
that's all right. That's all right. Okay.
That's it. So kudos to you. Continued success to you. I am just hand claps from me. Hand claps from me.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me. This is a great experience. And if you need to have me back again, I'd be more than willing to do it. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.